Chris Cuomo here. Welcome to News Nation, where we call out the political game. I have 3 points that will undress all the breathless BS we've had to tolerate the last few days. First, side note, I was driving here tonight, and there was a Jeep on the side of the road and had its blinkers on, its hazard lights. I pulled next to it, lowered the window, put my dome light on, and the guy looks at me and freaks out. And no, not because I'm ugly and not because he's a huge fan of News Nation. And he asks if I was the police. And I said, no. And he didn't believe me. And he started panicking and saying, I have my green card right here. It's a laminate. I have my working. I have all these things. And he was insisting on showing me. And I told him, I'm just driving to work. I saw you were pulled over on the side of the road. It's dark. I live in the middle of the woods. And then he asked me for directions because there's no cell signal where we live. Law and order matters. Okay? No one argues, well, at least no one argues well against rounding up gangbangers and violent illegal entrants and fentanyl pushers and human traffickers. Nobody's arguing about that. But law and order means something more than just absolute and harsh enforcement of the same. Order is about how you want to be perceived as well, what your society is as a message. Don't come in illegally. Fine. But America's president and these policies are scaring a lot of people in a lot of communities, and I bet many of you know people exactly like what I'm talking about. And I don't know, look, I know the bad guys, that's easy, but those are the few, not the many, okay? If Trump's number is right, 14, 20 million, whatever number he puts on it, overwhelmingly, that number is people who are building communities, not tearing them down. And I'm telling you, the idea that you're just going to round them all up and throw them out, I know that may sound good on social media, but not only is it logistically impossible and crazy expensive and probably illegal, but is that really who we are? Doesn't feel right to me. Now, I'm sure many of you don't agree. That's fine. Call in and we'll discuss. My next 2 points, I bet we will agree on. Okay? Headlines announce that Mexico and Canada have come to the table as if Trump averted some last-second disaster. BS, and they know it. Trump didn't avert or avoid anything. He created this. This was no roller coaster, unless you want to say it's what the media put us on. This was a negotiating tactic. It always was, and everybody knew it was. And guess what? It worked. And it was the Democrats and the media that made it like the tariffs were already hurting us and pointing at Wall Street as proof. Look, first of all, Wall Street, those people sell on news and buy on speculation. And you're going to see it's going to rebound now because that's all they're doing is gambling, basically. You need to see the game and call it out because it's making us crazy. And both sides play it. Nobody plays it the way Trump does. Social media is constantly a sensation of speculation. But it is just noise made by magnified minorities and profiteering podcasters. And the media screwed up. We took a shortcut and started using social media as a proxy for the Vox Populi, the voice of the people. We were lazy because it was easy. It was right there, and we were all on it anyway. And it was wrong. We stopped doing the rigorous work of being in touch with the country and getting out there. It was a mistake. Look at what Cash and Tulsi and Bobby are dealing with in their hearings. It's not their policy ideas. It's what they said on these fringe podcasts with guys with the headphones and the ski caps and the big mics saying stuff that they know they can't justify. Gets you a following online, gets these guys paid, but you can't defend it with serious people. And what really bothers me about all of it is with these tariffs, everybody knew they weren't going to be operative in all likelihood. Certainly Democrats like Schumer knew it was a ploy, and yet he had to have his own ruse.
It's going to affect beer, okay? Most of it, Corona here, comes from Mexico. It's going to affect your guac, because what is guacamole made of? Avocados, both from Mexico.
You know, it's always good when you have props. Look, same mistake AOC made when she warned that Trump's threat of tariffs against Colombia would make your coffee more expensive. Look, if they want to give a damn about inflation, they should have done something over the last few years, okay? And they didn't. They just denied it. The game of showing that the other party is worse ain't getting it done anymore. That should be a message for the left and the right. fix. Show you have better ideas to fix. Trump rubs plenty of people the wrong way, and he often says things poorly and in ways that abuse norms. But you know what? We had an election about that, and he won. So just judge what he does and save the style points for the rabble on social media. Make it the noise. You want to be part of it, but it's not what matters. How you feel about how he is meaningless to me and my family. You know what Schumer should be saying right now? It worked. And I have some ideas for what else needs to change with Canada and Mexico while you got them at the table for this 30-day window. Oh, and that's the next one. Only 30 days. Countdown of the 30 days. What do you think's going to happen at the end of the 30 days? You think we're going to be back at the brink of tariffs? I don't think so. Media was saying Mexico was going to hurt us. Canada's going to hurt us. 2 points. First, they already do hurt us. Have you looked at the relative tariff structure? Put up the graphic. This is what they tariff. We should have the percentages. I don't know why they're there. Hopefully you have them on with Mexico. They tariff things like 200, 300, 400%. I don't know why I didn't give you the numbers on this. That's my fault. I'm sorry. This is useless information to you. The rates, we're talking 10%, 25%, 30%. Their tariff structure with us is way greater than that, okay? Now, this is something else, okay? Mexico does even more, and they actually just got rid of one of their tariff rules that exempted U.S. companies, move the prompter, manufacturing in Mexico from paying tariffs on key inputs like steel, aluminum, wood, plastic, glass. Now, that pie chart is what I need right now. Trump doesn't understand this imbalance because he knows the relative trade leverage. Now, put up the pie charts. 26% of what they make goes to us. 19% of what Canada makes goes to us, okay? What do we make that goes to them? Because that would be their leverage, right? 1.2% of the U.S. GDP exports goods to Mexico. 1.4% is exporting goods to Canada. You see what I'm saying? The trade imbalance is obvious. So of course he had the leverage. Of course they weren't going to risk that kind of situation. Of course they were going to come to the table. They thought that they could scare him because everybody loves to panic and create chaos and create negativity and create division. And they know that about us because they've watched us eat ourselves for years. So Trudeau tried it, and the Mexican lady tried it. And it didn't work this time. Now, look at what he got already here. Mexico will now deploy 10,000 troops to the U.S.-Mexican border to crack down on illegal immigration and fentanyl trafficking into the U.S. Good. Trump, in return, promised Mexico to crack down on trafficking of high-powered weapons from the U.S. into Mexico. I don't know how he's going to do that. I don't know. I know why they want it. It is screwed up that we keep looking at them as the bad guys and they get the overwhelming majority of their weapons from us. It's messed up. Canada went even further, promising to maintain spending this commitment of $1.3 billion on the border, 10,000 more people. Okay, you know, we have a huge imbalance with our staff, and we took a lot of our staff for CBP from the north and moved them to the south. We got problems in the north. I got Charlie LaDuff on tonight, and he's going to tell you why. So they're going to put in new choppers, technology. He's also going to designate cartels as terrorist organizations, name a fentanyl czar, and announced a new intelligence directive against organized crime that will be funded to the tune of $200 million. Okay? Now, there's a lot more to discuss. You cannot like Trump, but you have to give credit where it is due. Otherwise, nothing can be fair. Okay? You want to be a fair broker when he screws it up, then you got to be a fair broker when things go the right way. Now, again, I know they're saying that the tariffs are going to come back. I don't buy it, okay? And the media needs to stop judging how Trump talks and focus on how he walks and what works for or against Americans' interests. And there's going to be plenty to scrutinize, which takes me to the other drama, the USAID situation, United States Agency for International Development. This one is more hype than help, and I'll make the case. Everyone's celebrating. Trump's spokesperson listing all the ways they waste money. Look at all the waste we found. Listen.
Went crazy during the Biden administration. They went totally crazy what they were doing and the money they were giving to people that shouldn't be getting it and to agencies and others that shouldn't be getting. It was a shame. I love the concept, but they turned out to be radical left lunatics.
These are some of the insane priorities that organization has been spending money on. $1.5 million to advance DEI in Serbia's workplaces, $70,000 for a production of a DEI musical in Ireland, $47,000 for a transgender opera in Colombia. I don't know about you, but as an American taxpayer, I don't want my dollars going towards this crap, and I know the American people don't either, and that's exactly what Elon Musk has been tasked by President Trump to do.
Well, he better do better than that, because that is some penny ante stuff. Look, yeah, sure, dollar saved is great. It's great. You go on that level, there's going to be a lot of fat to pick. I don't know that Elon's the right guy. Where do we get that from, by the way? Because of what he did at Twitter, he just fired half his staff. And last time I checked, the business isn't killing it. Now, that list, I get you. It is, you don't want waste. And some of that stuff sounded kind of funky. But it was less than 0.5% of the budget of USAID. You want to cut waste, fine. But you got to stop talking about, we've got to get back to the Constitution. This doesn't violate. Hey, how about you read the Constitution? 7 articles, 27 amendments. Doesn't take a really long time. If you read it, you'd know the answers to these BS questions. Trump is going to stop all funding of foreign aid. Can Trump do that? No. Why? Who has the power of the purse strings? Congress. If they allocate money, he gets to execute the allocation, but he can't just cancel it. Oh, yeah, but he can get rid of the agency, and Elon's going to do it. Trump cannot get rid of a federal agency by himself. Read the Constitution. Look at the legal precedent based on the articles in the Constitution. Same reason, checks and balances. Yes, this agency is under the executive branch, under the president, but not under his exclusive control without checks and balances, especially when Congress allocates money for things. And you know who really can't do any of the things that are being talked about, especially on Twitter, of course? Musk. He isn't deciding anything about aid or agencies. You think Trump is going to let this guy just tell him what to do? Really? Really? Have you learned nothing of how this process works? We give foreign aid not out of the goodness of our hearts. We give aid to foreign countries because it is good for us. It creates stability, helps our trading partners, helps put down insurgencies that could come after us and hurt our interests and all of the different corporations that are doing business in these other places. And let me tell you something, if Elon Musk is behind sending government emails to USAID employees about whether or not they're fired or supposed to be at work, that's a problem. Congress should act, both Republicans and Democrats, because that is not how you govern in a democracy. This guy was not vetted. I know he's got a clearance, but that's for SpaceX. That's different. That doesn't allow him to go into any agency and do what he's doing. For all the concerns about Musk, this is what you should look at. An unelected, unvetted advisor. Not only is it what he's doing in government, it's what he's doing with his site. He is clearly given reach to propaganda that he likes that helps Trump. And he is probably, and I can tell from my own thread and what I see around, I don't see things getting wattage the way they used to. And that has to be known and it has to be scrutinized. And if we're going to talk about who's getting money from the U.S. government, I think we should start with him. And his other tech bros, what kind of money are they getting from the government? Should that be scrutinized?